So we've got another really cheap, solid clone that I've been checking out here lately and that I've been really excited about. I've been trying to dive into this house and a couple other clone brands as well, just a little bit, because I know a good chunk of my audience does appreciate the clone content. And while I'm not going to be taking over the channel and only doing clone content, I'm still going to be sticking to just kind of the main designer releases and stuff. Wanted to kind of start to give you guys some more content that you may be looking for. If you're looking to save some money, especially in a time right now, these fragrances can be very valuable. I have found what I believe to be a really, really solid La Nuit de l'Homme / La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique clone for $15 for 100 milliliters. It's an eau de parfum, no joke. It is Lataffa Ejazzi Intense Silver. Again, pronunciation on these are probably going to be horrendous on my end, but it really doesn't matter. This is the fragrance. This is the bottle. It's spelled out in the title. This is what we're talking about. And yeah, through my testing, I've noticed that it reminds me of La Nuit de l'Homme heavily. So definitely taking some serious inspiration from there, a clone for sure. But between La Nuit de l'Homme and Bleu Electrique, it tends to lean more Bleu Electrique, and I'll explain why throughout the video. And for those who are unaware, Bleu Electrique is already discontinued. It's already gone. It didn't even last a year. And so don't really go out there and try to hunt this one down unless you can get it for a good price, because now you could get into something like this. And while it's not exactly the same, it's better than paying $150 for 100 mils of this one. So let's go ahead and start off with how this fragrance smells. Now, when you first spray it on, you get that nice spicy oriental cardamom top note. Great atomizer, by the way, and great presentation for $15. You do have a press fit cap, but it's very, very secure. It's not going to be going anywhere. While I still wouldn't recommend picking them up by the cap, you could with this one. Get that cardamom. You get this nice clean masculine lavender coming through, and so that immediately provides a nice balance. Same thing with La Nuit de l'Homme and Bleu Electrique as well. You get that oriental spicy cardamom, which could start to veer the fragrance off in maybe more of a unisex direction or just in a different direction, right? Because if it's a warm spicy, but the lavender immediately comes through and just kind of brings some balance. You also get a good amount of woods immediately, more specifically cedar wood. And in this instance here, what the cedar wood comes across as is it kind of gives it a dry, spicy smell, a dry, woody, and spicy smell. You know, there's a whole bunch of different types of woods out there, and even within the cedar wood variety, there's a bunch of different types. This one here happens to be more so as described, and it's really the same thing with La Nuit de l'Homme. It kind of goes in conjunction with that cardamom note to give it something that is kind of lending to a spiciness as well. We'll go and take a look at the note breakdown here. For the top, we have citruses, orange, cardamom, lavender, and myrtle. In the heart, we have patchouli, pepper, lily of the valley, cinnamon leaf, and in the base, we have ambroxan, woodsy notes, amber, cedar, oak moss, and vetiver. So when you compare note breakdowns, the Lataffa has a lot more going on, and they have some notes that do not exist in La Nuit de l'Homme. But one thing that I do pick up on a good amount of is the ambroxan, or amberwood, or however you would want to look at it. And that right there is the reason why I compare this one more so to La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, because what I've found through Bleu Electrique is that it is really just that La Nuit de l'Homme DNA that we all know and love, but tweaked a little bit, pushed towards the modern direction. With Bleu Electrique, it was a little bit controversial because a lot of people were claiming that it was the exact same as La Nuit de l'Homme, that it's a waste of money and that's a gimmick, but that's really not true. With Bleu Electrique versus La Nuit de l'Homme, it's really going to be the subtle differences that make it what it is. And that's something where if you go out to your local retailer, back when this was in production, by the way, not now, when it was being produced, when you go out to your local retailer and you spray it up in the air once and make a decision, that's a poor decision choice. When you just spray it on paper one time, smell it once and go, oh, yep, exactly the same as La Nuit de l'Homme, and then you go on Fragrantica and tell everyone that, and it starts a frenzy. That's just, not the way to do it. So between the two, Bleu Electrique was just a little bit more of a modern approach, kind of similar to what L'Homme Le Parfum did to the L'Homme DNA, but not to that degree. Bleu Electrique still very much maintains that La Nuit de l'Homme DNA, the spicy cardamom. And so with this one here, right off the first spray even, along with that cardamom lavender blast, I do pick up on that ambroxan. But again, the cedarwood's coming through, a little bit of a slight floral freshness. Now, it doesn't go too far in that direction, but you do pick up on those notes to some extent. And really for me, I don't get a whole lot of the citrus or the orange either. It pretty much goes straight into the warm spices and the woods and that sort of thing. That's just me though. You might pick up on some of the citrus, maybe in more of the heat, some of that orange will come through, but most of my wearing conditions here have been more indoors with this one, and I haven't picked up on really any of the citrus or the fruit or anything like that. Now, in terms of the closeness of this and La Nuit de l'Homme / Bleu Electrique, it's going to be probably about, I would say, 80-85%, somewhere around in there. I really don't like to put numbers on stuff like this because I just don't feel it's very accurate, especially in a very subjective type of hobby like this. But I know a lot of people do ask and they want to know percentage. So I would say 85 or so. The reason why is just that kind of opening that it gives off, leaning towards the modern direction, is even more so than Bleu Electrique. So again, if I had to compare it to one, it would be Bleu Electrique, but we're not talking one-to-one exact replicas here. You don't really get that with any clone. So it does stray a little bit in its own direction here, but I like that. Also, the way it opens up, it reminds me a little bit of CH Min, not Privé, just the original. Something about this, it almost has like that kind of sweet leathery smell. Even though I don't believe they list off a leather or a sugar, you kind of get that in conjunction with that, La Nuit de l'Homme opening. And I think it's the compound of ambroxan that they're using here, because I know in fragrances like Bentley for Men Momentum Intense, which smells a lot like CH Men, they're using a heavy dose of ambroxan amberwood in there to kind of achieve a similar thing. So that's probably where that's coming from here. But regardless, though, it's still closer than not, and you can tell very much where the inspiration is coming from here. And I think that's really cool. It's good to see because there really aren't too many La Nuit de l'Homme clones out there. Have you ever noticed that? It's something where I didn't even really realize it until I think I saw a comment, and they're like, okay, we have clones of Sauvage. We've got tons of Sauvage clones. We've got tons of Aventus clones. But when it comes to La Nuit de l'Homme, really aren't too many. So it's cool to see one here kind of starting to push back on that DNA. And the fact that you can get this one, again, 100 milliliters, I believe is what this bottle size is, 100 mils, an eau de parfum for $15. That is just ridiculous. That will be linked down below. That's probably not going to last very long, so I would jump on that. It's a no-brainer. And for what it's worth, the box is pretty cool. I don't normally go over the presentation, just standard, But I mean, for 15 bucks, you get this giant box. Definitely silver and eye-catching. That's pretty cool. Now let's touch on performance here. Now, unfortunately for me, it hasn't been the best performer. I guess it depends on what you would consider to be best when you're comparing price point. So for me, on average, it's been about 5 to 6 hours, which is really kind of on par with La Nuit de l'Homme. And also, for the price, I'm really not mad about it. If I paid, $50, $60, $70 for this one, at that point, I would be like, okay, now just get La Nuit de l'Homme, right? Because you're up to that price point, of course, and performance is not improved. But in this instance here, depending on your skin, roughly the same performance as La Nuit de l'Homme for $15. I can't be mad at that. Now, one thing to keep in mind too, and I kind of struggle with this as well, this one will cause nose blindness, anosmia, because of the heavy dose of ambroxan in here. So make sure you're watching that and taking that in consideration when you're testing it. I could even be getting more performance out of this one. Just people around me and myself could be going nose blind, so you never really know. But kind of in that mid-range price there, which isn't really the best, but at the same time, I really can't complain either. And quality is also surprising. It's shocking. At this price point, you're almost expecting garbage because, take it from me, I have a lot of garbage in this price range. But this one, quality is good. It's not niche quality. It doesn't have as good of quality as La Nuit de l'Homme or any of the other big designer brands out there, but it's impressive. You know, it really is impressive. And I think quality is pretty decent here. That's gonna do it for me. That's my review on Ejazzi Intensive Silver by Lataffa. Diving into this brand more, I think I'm going to pick up a few more of them here and just kind of keep checking them out. This bottle is a fingerprint magnet, as I'm sure you can see. One thing to keep in mind there. But I'm impressed overall. I really have been the past few days, and I just couldn't wait to get this review out. Again, we're not talking one-to-one match, but still very heavily inspired by NUIT L'Homme, and it's a nice one to have around. If you want to save some money, you can go this way. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.